Hi, everybody. This is Crystal Proxmire of Oakland County Times. We're here today with Steffan Demetropoulos, who is running for Congress in the 10th District. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Can you just tell us why you've decided to run?
I decided to run because I have family at home. I've got four children, and with the way that the political climate's kind of been going, um, I think that we've been pushing too much off onto the next generation each and every year. And I don't want to continuously look at my kids knowing that we as a nation are constantly selling out their future. Um, I think that it's my duty and obligation to step up as a concerned citizen, as a father, as someone who's served in the military to take that leap forward and uh, go back into service to my country and serving the constituents of Michigan's 10th district along with my children as well, because we can't continue this.
What are some of the things that you'd like to work on if you're elected?
So my main goal is to focus on the transparency and accountability of our government, making sure that our leaders are sticking to their promises that they were elected for, and if they're not, giving the why. The why is so important right now in today's society with all of the issues that we're having with transparency. Being able to focus on and explain what's going on and why it's happening is paramount to having a nation of citizens who's going to trust their government again. There's so much distrust in the government between the news and social media. We need to get back to a focus point here. Another issue that I would like to focus on is our children's education and their overall safety within their educational systems. Um, I think that we need to, as a federal government, give the power back to the states. Each state is should be responsible for mandating their own educational path forward, um, because while there is a generality of what should be taught in schools, um, overall the states are going to have a little bit of a different viewpoint. And I think as we have seen standardized testing throughout the past decades go, um, standards constantly change and evolve. And one standard is not, there are certain standards aren't a one size fit all for all children. And that's something that I've continuously seen in my own children's schooling. Um, I have a child who does absolutely fantastic in regular public education, and then I have a child who is absolutely struggling, and the teachers are constantly telling me their hands are tied and there's nothing that they can do to help them, because the mandates are preventing them from actually focusing on the kids and what the kids need. And that's disheartening as a parent. Um, so the last thing that I think is important is finding out or trying to figure out a way to fix what people are calling the affordability crisis that's going on right now. I think over the past couple of decades, there's been some pretty historic inflation, and inflation is something that is normal. But the fact that wages don't necessarily pace with inflation does seem to be an ever-growing issue, and which my goal is not to necessarily fix wages or anything like that, but finding the systemic root cause of the issue of why we are inflating at such a rapid rate and putting measures in place to slow that down Um, that's the biggest goal right now for this affordability crisis.
Can you tell us a bit about your professional experience and what skills you bring to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've always been what I would consider a pretty hard worker. I worked throughout my entire high school. Started my first job at 14, my first real job, taxable job at 14 years old. And I joined the military at 17 years old. I turned 18 in basic training. Um, and I was a sergeant leading soldiers by 21. Um, I spent 10 years in the Army. I served 8 months in Afghanistan. And then when I came home, I ended up leaving active duty. So I spent 5 years active duty, and then I did another 5 years reserves as a military intelligence analyst while I went to college for civil engineering. I studied civil engineering at Milwaukee School of Engineering, and I got my master's degree online at LSU in construction management. And now I build K-12 schools here in Michigan. So I just got done building a new middle school in Holly. I don't know if you're familiar with the area. So I'm also working on some renovations at their high school this summer and building a nice grand entryway for their sports field, which is awesome. It's really great to be able to see the community come together on these projects and just be overall like really excited and happy about the work we're doing and how it benefits them. It's one of the greatest feelings, but um yeah.
So, what are some of the ways that you've been involved in the community?
So for the 10th district, everything I do is in the 10th district. I go to church at St. Charbel Maronite Church. It's right just south of Hall Road on Hayes. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus through them, and I also volunteer heavily for my children's sporting events, mostly my sons. I don't dance or do gymnastics very well, so I do help out with gymnastics when it comes to like setting up and tearing things down. But I coach for my sons' football. I've coached for their t-ball. Um, I try to get involved in that aspect. Um, I don't have like an overbearing, crazy volunteer schedule that I'm committed to. But as opportunities arise, I just try and get in where I fit in if I can, you know.
This race, there is some competition for this position. Why should the voters pick you?
Absolutely. And I have a couple of great opponents. I will hats off to them. They're running great campaigns right now. But I think that what sets me apart from them is that I am one of the constituents, you know. I'm a father. I have 4 children. I'm just a regular guy, regular dad, working day to day. I'm still working right now. They're all campaigning full time. I'm doing my full-time job. I'm raising my family. I'm coming home every day and then campaigning after work. Um, I may not know everything. I may not be the most intelligent politically. I'm running a very lean campaign right now. But that should just go to show the voters how hard I'm going to work. I'm going to step up and I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to get what needs to be done. And at the end of the day, I'm the only person in this race that has a family. So when I come home at night and I voted a certain way on a certain bill or introduced legislature to um, Congress, I have to look at my kids in the eyes and tell them like, hey, you know, I did this, or or I chose not to do this because of XYZ reasoning. And those issues, that alone is gonna hold me accountable. I have more than just a dog or a whatever to come home to and justify my answers.
If people want more information about you and your campaign, where can they go?
So I have my website is Steffan, Steffan, forcongress.com. And they can find everything on there. My all of my social medias are linked to the website. You can get onto my Facebook, my Instagram, Twitter, or sorry, X. Um, you can get onto all those accounts through there. Um, but that's the easiest way. Spelling my last name's kind of difficult.
Well, people will be able to look you up right from our post at least, so that will be helpful too. Um,
Okay.
so thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you for having me, Crystal.